murag nalanghap na ko talaga smell sa paano mo sa espada ba?
Ayan, very clear. Kita rin.
Nahalang akong ilong.
So, this will be very fast. This will be your trauma and critical care review. I've introduced M, so ito din yung magandang. So I also with this look, this week,
That's her.
with my attitude and my height, but it's essentially going back to the lecture. This is a trauma and critical care lecture with the following objectives. At the end of this lecture, you supposed to be able to identify trauma activities and enumerate the prioritization for trauma management. No updated recommendations for trauma resuscitation, which I hope you'll understand that is very essential in trauma management, and to understand basic concepts of surgical critical care. Essentially, this is to empower you to better prepare for your emergency duties with knowledge and physical, emotional, and resource preparation for unwanted situations. So trauma is a disease. 4.4 million people die around the world each year. About 8% of all deaths occur are actually from trauma, which covers about 5 people within the age group of 5 to 29 years old. It remains to be 3 of the top 5 causes of death, mainly road traffic injuries, homicide, and suicide. Tens of millions of people suffer non-fatal injuries that lead to emergency visits and acute care visits, hospitalizations, and treatment by general practitioners. And it often results in temporary or permanent disability in the need for long-term care and rehabilitation. So your trauma number was long studied before. It was first described in 1982 with noting the trimodal distribution of death due to injuries of trauma. Usually there were 3 peaks. First peak was from a severe injury, so this can only be mitigated by good prevention. The second peak is the significant blood loss, NPBI, which can be helped or mitigated by your golden hour and rapid assessment of institution. In the third peak was long after the injury, and this is where your sepsis and medical organs begin. However, with the development of standardized trauma training, better pre-hospital care, especially in your developed trauma systems, with trauma centers dedicated trauma teams and established protocols, it has altered the picture to be a bimodal distribution already. That's why your historical team peaks has not. Allow for our shift to a bimodal distribution. So approach to trauma will mainly be based on your ATLS. You want to treat the greatest threat to life first and never allow the lack of your definitive diagnosis to impede the application of an indicated treatment. Your detailed history is not necessary as compared to your medical management.
Soto siya.
So please, once you see an indication for management, manage. So you center activation. Why are we talking about that? Because essentially it gives you the idea of what injuries are high risk for complication. So in mature trauma systems, they use this mechanism to triage their patients, to bring them to trauma centers that are capable to manage these situations. So your high risk mechanism will be your fall more than 20 feet or 2 to 3 times the child's height. A high risk will be to the crack with defined by an intrusion, yung pumaloob yung wall na 12 inches in the passenger side. Inside, ejection or limiting compartment, or based on the limiting especially for our newer vehicles. Automobile versus pedestrian or bicycle prone, run over or with significant impact which is defined by a speed of 32 km/h na lahat naman ng motor crashes natin ay actually more than that speed or motorcycle crashes.
Sarap ako. Sarap. Ang bilay ko sa tanan. Pero na
Or it can also be based on the comorbidities and special patient considerations. Like say you have your older patients defined by the age of 65, more than 65, but magkasalangin sa kalan sila matamaan. Or children less than 15 years old, anticoagulancies and bleeding disorders, burns, significant burns, pregnancy, more than 20 weeks, and based on your EMS provider judgment as well. This is all in your EMS manual.
So, yan ang ipaglaplap.
So sometimes are not inside the protocol based on the EMS or the emergency medical provider. Pwede rin silang dalhin directly sa trauma center because there are high risk mechanisms or events that have contributed to the management of the trauma. So, how do you manage these trauma patients once they arrive at the ER? Your initial assessment is actually composed of your preparation, triage, your primary surgery, secondary surgery, and definitive care. However, most in our setting, hindi naman nagagawa agad yung preparation and triage. We usually arrive at our emergency department, and that's all the time we have to prepare for their management. So again, we do our primary survey with immediate resuscitation of life-threatening injury. So this is actually the summary of everything that you want to do for all your documents. You get your identifier campaign, your primary survey, your APCO, your secondary survey, you have your very short history of nature of incident, date of incident, place of incident, and time of incident, and this physical representation of all the physical injuries. So we go to the primary surgery. The primary surgery is composed of ABCD, starting with airway and time control. So kahit anong operation yan, kahit gano'ng ka-complication natin, you always start with your ABCD. And A is always airway and time control. Remember that the prioritization of management for our trauma patients is based on what can kill your patient fastest, and that is the lack of oxygen. So you check and secure your patient's airway and ensure surgical time So for airway and time control, based on your best guidelines, you have your adult trauma patients with risk factors to automatically give them face masks at 10 lpm, and then that's when we check for airway compromise. If there is airway compromise, then you definitively control your airway, whether by intubation or by intubation.
Dili na juga ana kay gikan ko.
Just continuously assess your patient's there are no stable trauma patients. So what can you use for airway control? You have your non-rebreather mask, you have your bag mask ventilation, which gives you better heat. You have your laryngeal mask, and you have your So you're temporizing, all of these are temporizing except for your endotracheal tube and your trachothyroidotomy and tracheostomy, because those are delivery of airway beyond your vocal cords, which is the definition of your definitive airway. So this, because you are surgeon, this is a very important skill that you have to prepare for, especially if you are going to do your emergency department duties. These are your A is for your trachothyroidotomy and B is for your coronary tracheostomy. These are indicated for patients wherein you are not so confident with the safety of doing the intubation, but there is airway compromise.
Dugay man akong ate. Kaya ako ate sa Japan sa
And
Bikan.
for you do not need a diagnosis. You do not need a CT scan.
Kaya na siya gusto ko mamamatanawa.
As
Context
long as
is
this
scissors.
and making
Asa
sense,
mo
even
hair
if
ka.
the presentation
50,000 wala sa
of
mali mo 100.
you have to immobilize the
Mangulita.
secondary injury. Your primary injury is not do anything to prevent that. Now it happened already, and now that your patient is at your emergency department, you have to prevent progression.
Kumawata niya itong Korea na mo ihapon pinay mo.
So moving on to your A, assuming that you resuscitated your patient and your patient is either talking or you secured your SOE definitively, you move on to your B, receiving and ventilation. When you want to provide supplemental oxygen and via face mask and LPM, and you want to fix the big resource condition that will put your breathing at risk. These are tension in the thorax, so you diagnose it on the presence of shock and the mechanism of a blunt trauma with asymmetry in the breath sound. So what and another differential will be your massive pneumothorax, wherein it's not the pressure that's causing your shock, but rather the volume lost into the thoracic cavity. And you have your cardiac tamponade, which is a form of obstructive shock, wherein there is blood, personally blood inside your pericardium that's restricting the contraction of your heart. So how do you differentiate them? It depends on your physical examination, regular venous tension, all percentage of hypertension shock, and depends on your exploratory rate. So what do you want to do to manage these kinds of emergencies? For your tension pneumothorax, you want to do your needle thoracentesis or your needle thoracotomy, which will give you immediate raise of the pressure of your obstructive shock, leading to almost dramatic resolution of your shock. And then you proceed with your tube thoracotomy. For your massive pneumothorax, first you have to drain it to diagnose it, and if you drain more than a liter, that is from your breast, and that will still be the number that you will remember for exam. If you drink 1 liter of pneumothorax, or you have a 200 cc are lost for 2 to 3 hours, then the definitive management for a massive pneumothorax is your anterolateral thoracotomy. For your cardiac tamponade, you have to release that. Ideally, if you're very near an operating room, you can do your anterolateral thoracotomy and release of that tamponade. Otherwise, pagbibigyan, kunwari malayo talaga yung OR, your evacuation via delivery of your cardiac tamponade. For your three-sided occlusive dressing, this is of course for your open pneumothorax. So what you want to do with the three-sided occlusive dressing is to release that tension in that, but have a one-way valve to release the continuous of air.
Wala may relationship at all.
It is assumed that you can only move from A to E if you have resuscitated your patient enough. So once you've done that, you can move on to C. This is almost always the first, the major reaction to manage for a patient to shock, but it's not the most lethal actually. During circulation, you want to check for confusion, perfusion problems, and pulses, because these are problems that will solidify physically if your patient is in circulatory
Pero
instability.
may ka grades mo, di ko kasunod
So,
kung grades
one,
lang
tension pneumothorax, because tension pneumothorax can kill your patient earlier has been excluded as a cause of shock. Consider that hypotension following injury is due to blood loss until proven otherwise. So remember, it's tension pneumothorax that takes precedence over our resuscitation with volume or blood.
Best friend sila nga, magna cum laude sa medicine.
So, kung circulation, kung talagang hemorrhagic shock yung nangyari sa patient mo, what we want to do is we want to look for where you are bleeding and control that. That's why we say blood on the floor and pour more. Blood on the floor, obvious yan. Sabihin, natagpuan ka, marami kang bleeding sa floor, or yan, there are a lot of blood lost onto the vessel or onto the bedding or onto the clothing pa. But pour more, because there are persons that are bleeding into cavities, especially for mechanisms that are blocked, that can not necessarily your two diagnosed. So, 4 more is actually your chest, your abdomen, your pelvis, and extremities. Because look at the volume that you can use into the cavity. 3 liters, 24 liters, 46 liters, and etc. And you have to control that. Normally, most my residents will say, ano po siya, hypovolemic shock from head injury. Unless that's in head injury to the open valve of skull fracture, then that is very difficult to happen because your cranium or intracranial space is a very small volume and limited lang yung pwede lang malit doon bago siya mag-herniate. That's just about 30 cc. Parang dumudugo ka lang sa parang very operative blood loss lang natin. So for the diagnosis of shock, of course, you have to remember your classical shock 1, 2, 3, and 4. Define whether shock is present and if there's mild, moderate, or severe, and know that there's the addition of your space deficit and your they have associated already to the need for use of blood products during resuscitation.
Akong point is take one.
In the ECLS manual, they also discuss shock with regards to its response to resuscitation. There, you have your rapid response for the patients who arrive in fact, and then once the volume or the blood, bumanda na yung vital nila. And then they are iniisip natin sa treatment.
first top 1 to 6.
Ganun kayo ano
Ginang-referral na po sa
mabuksan. Baka nga talaga, volume lang yan wala. Represent yung hypovolemic shock, pero once nalagyan mo ulit na volume, biglang magpa-crack ulit because there's still an ongoing blood loss. Hence, there is increased need for resuscitation and there's a higher chance of going to the operating room. Just in patients with minimal or no response, these are your patients with extremist and kahit anong known department, hindi mo ma-resuscitate. When you think there's a high chance that you're actually not being able to control where that how do we resuscitate on resuscitation? Early and aggressive resuscitation with crystalloid, 1 liter of crystalloid. What's the rule? Now we're trying to do crystalloid resuscitation maximum of 1 liter because we recognize that more than the volume restoring physiology that we see. We know that with massive crystalloid resuscitation, it can lead to hemodilution, acidosis, hypothermia, and even unintentional presenting with your ARDS, NOF,
si Kyra, si Bren Oliva. Iba kung ano ka ba, mahinapak, abi na busy kaya mo ato dito sa DH, mag-biking ka niya. Yawa, di ka uli sa mobile, mag-biking lang kayo mga taga-PGH. Ano sila, busy kayo PGH, sige sumog na mo.
One, the bucket model says that no matter how much we give, we cannot expect to keep that volume as long as those folks are working against us. So that's where your hemostatic resuscitation comes in. It says that you need to control the hemorrhage while maintaining adequate perfusion, preventing coagulopathy, acidosis, and hypothermia. Hemostatic or use interchangeably with damage resuscitation is developed from the discovery of systematic coagulopathy and increased recognition of where the lesional coagulopathy from massive crystalloid resuscitation. These strategies constitute of early delivery of coagulation therapy combined with permitted hypotension. So, dito yung pumapasok kung bakit tayo nauuna hypertension, tapos kay hypotensive presentation, tapos naglalaparotomy. Kasi yung T-bucket nga kailangan mong hanapin, kailangan mong alamin, at controlling kung saan naglulus yung blood mo. Pero ang point din, dapat handa ka with your blood product. So blood product, yung volume resuscitation, hindi na more after 1 liter crystalloid to do your massive protocol, you continue with minimal crystalloid delivery, just as temporizing procedure. early use of tools, infusion of 1:1 year pack RBC, SSC, and platelets. If your whole blood is not available, and use of your tranexamic acid delivered 1 gram bolus followed by a gram over 8 hours drip. So, for your aggressive resuscitation to stop the bleeding, you're allowed to do your pressure dressing and tourniquet at the emergency department, REGOA, but that's still not available in the Philippines. And your early hemostatic surgery, which is a prime importance, especially if you know where that bleeding is, especially if it's in an area that you cannot easily control. You cannot just put all your volume resuscitation and just pray that the injury will stop from bleeding. Syempre hindi, sir Don, dapat malakas ang loob for blood product resuscitation. This is the prioritization of what blood products you want to give. You have your liquid gold or low titer O whole blood, and decreasing in desirability but still acceptable. You can go for your low titer fresh pure blood. You can have your plasma RBC and platelets in 1:1 ratio. As you can see, nasa pinakababa ng tier, yung plasma lang or RBC lang. Kasi, potentially you want to reconstitute whatever your patient is losing at this point. And we know that the hospital use of your low titer O whole blood is associated with decreased trauma based mortality and the hospital use of plasma with better overall survival. So your delivery of 1:1 of course based on your proper randomized control trial process. So we mentioned this tranexamic acid should be given as a 1 gram bolus and your next gram as a IV drip for 8 hours. All because we understand that you have your triad of death and trauma, acidosis, coagulopathy, and hypothermia, but now we're a trauma diamond. So diamond, trauma mortality diamond, adding hypocalcemia into the lethal diamond mix because your hypocalcemia, because of the blood loss, because of innate nutritional problems, or because of all the products that we deliver to the patient will cause more coagulopathy from the patient. So speaking of patients extremists, of course, this is where we want to talk about the damage control surgery. A deliberate and calculated surgical approach designed to maximize the patient's physiologic status prior to definitive repair, overwhelming injury. So again, your decision to do your damage control will depend on the degree of physiologic input, estimated blood loss, and injury patterns identified.
Ang gitubag sa clerk, may nalagay
Kailangan
isya mo na
makompleto
gitubag
yung
katubag.
bago mag-gawin yung damage control
Sa aling
surgery.
edition po,
In fact, your
kasi
damage
sa
control
import
surgery
tatlo
is
sa
always
10-4
discussed
na.
on your seat.
Ano ba? Huwag kayo kayo na sa libro. Puro dyan ko na to.
And definitive damage control.
Una, wako
So your damage control surgery historically has 3 phases. Your phase 1, 2, and 3. 1 is your damage control surgery, control of hemorrhage, contamination, and temporary abdominal closure. Phase 2 is your rewarming and your correction of coagulopathy, ideally in a surgical ICU. And phase 3 is your repair. But we know that there is now towards zero, wherein your damage control resuscitation begins at the scene or even at the emergency department because many of our resuscitation techniques can be accommodated already in such setting. So damage control is a mindset. It requires the best surgical and anesthesia team available, the availability of physical care team, and units, the logistical and the
So which
the
hole will I
experience
put
to
it
manage
into?
these cases
Huh?
is paramount.
Sure.
Your time schedule
Sa vagina po ang
and
kayo
you have a
busy.
local exposure of light damage to the throat.
Lagot kayo.
So after 2 weeks, the only time that you can go to evaluate your E and your E is after if your patient is still stable enough or you've done your damage control or your patient is already in the ICU. Hindi mo yan isipilit na kumpletuhin like a checklist. You have to understand that the decision to continue is based on the premise na na-resuscitate mo na yung patient na enough para makapaghanap ka ka na ng iba pang problem.
Girl, wala yung
So for me, you want to look at the level of consciousness, your GCS, your physical size and your action, your lateral time, and the level of time involved in the race or race of clap.
Nagala ko pa rin, igawas na ito.
GCS, you have to remember that at the
Sila doon, kareta, kung kailangan ito.
your exam, and essentially your non-local is also an easy topic to learn to review. And you have to know the indications for surgery use. Kasi yun lang naman yung research questions para dun sa exam. No? So, you have to identify how an epidural hematoma looks like, hematoma, whether acute or chronic, and an intraparenchymal hematoma, acquisition hematoma, and their indications for surgery. It's all in your chart. There is a summary of the volume if you want to look out for, because kahit hindi tayo nag-opera as general surgeon, it's important to know the triggers for surgery and neurosurgical protocol. Ito pala, this is the summary of the volumes and the management that we will have to do.
First day.
So, E will be full exposure and environment. Gusto mong makita if meron ka pang ibang ingredients na kailangan i-address para mag-maximize the management of your bleeding and temporary environmental control so that you can prevent your hypothermia.
Basta babae, pink.
Hypothermia because if you can see it, you can see the picture. This is how your trauma patients will be prepped for a surgery. This is your severe trauma patients nakabulat-lat lahat. So your blood control, your body temperature will go down if hindi mabilis yung surgery and
Hoy, din lang yun sa ano mo. Naka-pink na ganito na
access and for your adults, you have your chest X-ray and your E-tag. This essentially we can do it here as an adult or we can do it under circulation because it will tell you where the bleeding is. Let's say if the bleeding is not obvious, it's in the cavities that we discussed, in the blood on the floor and floor more.
Nasaan ka,
Floor
doktora?
cavities. Your other adjuncts, your ECG, your pulse ox, your capnograph, your EDG for measurement of pulse, and
Bakit hindi
top plate, and your gastric and bladder
yung may bilog dyan.
is normally forgotten in the emergency department. So our adults is a very new survey kasi kung ano ba yung patient, it will help you decide how you want to deal with your patient. So the formation of laparotomy, as mentioned during your damage control surgery, is to identify and treat the disease that you want to control your hemorrhage, control your contamination, and identify all the other injuries.
Tulog-tulog na lang.
As much as you want to protocolize every step of the way para madali na lang gawin yung trauma, there is no one algorithm that fits all trauma patients because there are differences in the mechanisms, in the reactions, or in the combination of your injury. Just remember that we are already at the point that we realize that it's physiology that is more important than just restoring the anatomy. Restoring the physiology ultimately predicts survival after severe trauma. Kaya nga, we're going for counterintuitive measures like hemostatic
Para masabtan
resuscitation.
si mong patient ang pathophysiology,
So there are protocols that I mentioned. For these, you can just it will be difficult to discuss all of them via Zoom because these are very case dependent, but essentially these are all based on your best guidelines. For your blood cardiac injury, it starts with your with thinking that based on the mechanism, this can also be a blood cardiac event. So you want to, especially if your patient has an unexplained tachycardia, there are murmurs or there are abnormal diagnostics, which you will not routinely request unless naisip mo na baka may cardiac component. So do your ECG and your troponin or your cardiac marker. So these are what you want to do. Essentially, for normal testing, you can work them out for the chest X-ray and 3D echo. However, with hypertensive or hypertensive patients, you want to do your thorax control. Yung pericarditis
ano mo na siya,
sagot at a definitive control or merely a temporary event for patients na hindi po agad aakyat sa OR.
RT. So galapan na siya, so he moves around.
For a blunt chest injury, also outside of a cardiac injury, pwedeng blunt chest then you want to begin with the hemodynamic instability. Why? Because you're all starting with your instability ang relationship natin. And then, kung stable, you work up the patient with good chest and kung hindi, if they're tension, if they're not thorax, or if there are other undiagnosed for a cardiac
later, notes later.
for a penetrating chest injury,
Listen and participate. Nani siya makikita na ito niya na yun, nagwala na ganyan, nadulon ka niya.
kailangan kaya niyang i-define yung cardiac box. You want to check for hemodynamic instability, taper it. If stable, you have your chest X-ray to diagnose whether it's pneumo or pneumothorax. Then you act on it.
In the red
If they're concerned for a transient spinal trajectory, then you can do your scan. So,
that's exactly why you should listen to my
or
class. So you won't have to
hemodynamic
be like,
instability, if you sure want to rule out your big three, your tension, your thorax, and your tamponade. For your blunt abdominal injury, again, if there's no hemodynamic instability, then you can complete it with your workup, which can be the price of your fast. If there's fluid, CT scan, or plus or minus your direct peritoneal lavage.
Forget everything you learned.
Diagnostic peritoneal lavage. Kung unstable,
Ano siya?
exploratory laparotomy.
Nag-neurosurge siya sa...
You understand that for blunt abdominal injury, there is a move to selectively manage these patients with a laparotomy because non-operative management can be used if all of these are available. Your ICU, your operating room theater that is always available if your patient turns sour, a blood bank with adequate supplies, and if there's available imaging for like your fast and that. Kung wala, operahan na lang yan to identify whether there's life-threatening injury. But if your patient has any injuries, your non-operative management must immediately be terminated. Hypotension, size of colon district injury, so ano na siya, may guarding na sa development of sepsis and deterioration in vital signs. So, wala na, kailangan mo na sa For penetrating abdominal injury, the gold standard remains to be laparotomy. And we've said that multiple times. This is your gold standard. Kasi, kailangan mong makita if ano yung mga injuries na natamaan niya. Indications for your laparotomy with your difficulty of your herniated abdominal organ and gunshot and even blood for penetrating abdominal injury, tapos essentially what you want to do is to identify or look for penetration, proof of penetration. So you can either do your serial physical examination, diagnostic peritoneal lavage, local wound exploration, ultrasound, CT scan, or even laparoscopy. Essentially, naghahanap ka ng license or indication to do your exploratory laparoscopy.
Pero kapag picture ka po, dito ko katuon. Di man may
Of course, if you are going to do your
Best
diagnostic
kayo ni-
peritoneal
ano
labad,
na,
you
yung
want to check
post
whether
mga best
you want to know
ano
whether
na,
it's
sa-
positive.
best.
So, yun yung mga positive
Best na yun.
diagnosis.
like,
For
best
your
word
colonic
for-
guidelines, a lot of these are academic, essentially your definition of non-destructive and destructive. Pero, what will define or what will determine whether you operate your patient anatomy, operate and manage your peritonitis, your injuries, your colonic injuries will be peritonitis. Peritonitis can be defined by inflammation of the peritoneum or cerebral surfaces as evidenced by congestion and edema, and presence of fibrous urinary and fibrocoagulation.
Hindi, wala ako na rin nag-graduation ninyo kaya yung balik
or crack abscess. Kasi, based on the colonic guidelines, whether destructive or non-destructive, you want to do primary repair if it's possible, as long as there is no peritonitis. If there is peritonitis, there are more than, if there's peritonitis or there are more than 3 organ system involvement, then you might want to look for other procedures that will help restore the continuity or the step horizon,
Late naman, the day prior man sa graduation.
your
So, what?
colonic
Ano,
continuity.
once in a lifetime.
Again, ang tanging magde-decide whether mag-aanak ka mo sa bawal or hindi will be your peritonitis, presence of medical disease, or organ system involvement. Remember, in your damage control surgery, you don't even have to continue with anastomosis. Pwede mong iwan on discontinuity ang bituka.
Pero wait, kung papiliwan, kung balik.
Penetrating injuries to the back. Ito, favorite ko na itanong. What defines an operative patient is still the presence of peritoneal signs on abdominal. Kung wala, you can be concerned. No need to do workup and then discharge after 24 hours. Penetrating neck injuries, you want to check the physical examination, do your chest x-rays and surgical x-rays for all your loans. And then determine if there are hard signs, which are essentially signs for vascular problems. Because your hard signs will define whether you want to do a direct neck examination. Your soft signs will always give you license to work up the patient with your carotid and or CT with IV contrast and tracheobronchoscopy and CT and swallow.
Like, the week after graduation na mo ba? Last rotation, as in last week niya, ano man po?
Essentially, this is what you want to do, your workup. If your patient has an obvious neck injury but no hard signs, and may soft signs, you want to work up. Kung walang signs, there's actually the ultrasound na wala ka rin gagawin sa kanya kahit na may injury pa.
Ang patient sa kadaghan
Kung wala at all kang symptoms.
dugay na.
But if there's hemodynamic instability, wala kang magagawa, you have to bring that patient up for a formal neck exploration kasi nga, may problem daw with,
unresponsive ba? So, iyagi.
ang problem kasi with bringing all these patients up,
na diabetic
there has been a recognition that your neck exploration is rather difficult and daunting, especially for screening. So, mas gusto natin na mas dinedefine natin kung sino ang mga patients na ina-explore yung neck to avoid morbidities yun naman kung hindi naman kailangan. So, for your penetrating neck injuries, repair will be for carotid injuries, repair unless very poor conditions like we get through because it will cause stroke. Vertebral artery injuries, you can negate. Venous injuries, you can negate and reoil or reconstruct if you have the luxury of time. Mandibular injuries, you do your primary repair and drain because you are highly expecting so look out for a way to see these. So, facial injuries, you want to do your primary repair And for combined circuit facilities, you want to repair and buttress in anticipation of timing. The golden hour for it will increase below original is 13 hours. Afterwards,
Nya mo to lagi ka. Nampak ay diri next morning, gihatagan siya
open grading mechanisms may be managed by a selective or mandatory explanation, including underwritten as effective by physical finding. Regional classification may aid now in management considerations and in lifting additional expertise like the NSS in Zone 1 and Zone 3, NSS in Zone 3, CBS in Zone 1. Although varying definitions in different institutions, it's the hard side, vascular, critical that might be emergent operations while soft time, mandate, institutions work up to help in Okay, for your special populations, going towards the end of the lecture, you have your pediatric macronutrition protocol, just like in adults, we're limiting spectaloids and glucose to 20 kilo per kilo bolus of isotonic crystallite, followed by blood products. Already, for geriatric products, higher threshold of normal tension, and you want to look out for problems with polypharmacy. Sa kanila, important ang ample.
Ayaw naman nagigihap ko.
In summary, there's your SICU pupuri also. Sobrang sinong time, but essentially for your SICU, you want to review your fluids and resuscitation. You want to be able to interpret your EKG. You want to review your definition shock state and do your nutrition calculations and anticoagulation. The fluid resuscitation, it's an old syndrome that was the best fluid and how it should be delivered to be most effective. But essentially, there's a debate already of doing early versus late fluid resuscitation. And when it comes to selecting the resuscitation fluid, surgeons are often faced with a range of options and many studies that the superiority towards whatever side of the debate that offers all. But essentially, you want your volume status evaluated, whether what is all that's contributing to the shock. You want to define your endpoint of your resuscitation. Kahit you want to check for volume or you want to check for physiologic response. And third is the goal to optimize the cardiac preload to deliver the best dose volume possible to end organ during the cardiac cycle. And fourth is optimizing, it's not entirely maximizing your fluid. Kaya yung pagbubulit, hindi ka laging maganda, especially for your cardiac patient. We're moving towards goal-directed fluid therapy with circulatory surrogate to maximize stroke volume, but not necessarily just the volume of the So now we use your systolic pressure and pulse pressure variation in your passive leg because these are dynamic measures of fluid. All those are your practice monitoring. Kahit gano'n karaming volume, kailangan
Buti pa, ibigay nyo na lang to sa amin kung hindi nyo alam anong gawin. Dito mag-good kayo, follow mag-good ang rule. Basta unstable ang patient, makagig yun email. Hindi siya pwede idiretso sa surgery, hindi siya pwede idiretso sa IF.
negative passive leg raise, and normalizing
Sila yung
And then, some people will go in the ICU to discuss when to actually remove fluid from their high extravascular lung water index, high vascular index. Kung mukha na siyang may sunod na raise of the abdominal pressure, low abdominal perfusion, possibly malocking index. Essentially, yan din yung measures na overloaded na yun. Remember that the best fluid may actually be the one that has not given to the patient. Because consider whether that fluid will be beneficial to the patient or not. For your arterial blood gas, you want it's a measure of your oxygen range ng carbon dioxide density to determine the concentration of your carbonate. It detects and monitors indications of oxygenation, ventilation, and breathing. Quantify hemoglobin and methemoglobin. So essentially, your arterial blood gas will measure ventilation, oxygenation, and acid-base balance. And it will be beyond the scope of this lecture to review on that, but there will be points coming from that point.
gagraduate dahil sa
So,
kabubuhan niya.
your septic shock is of course part of your competency. We now use the definition of
Okay, ano siya
septic
total?
three
Graduate naman
guidelines
ko
which define sepsis as a life-threatening organ
Sulong na dito
dysfunction
na
caused by a dysregulated host response to injury.
Ako kaya pa dahil
Septic shock is now defined as circulatory and cellular or metabolic dysfunction, which is associated with a higher risk of mortality. And sepsis is managed by managing the infection, what surgeons do best, source control, mechanical ventilation, managing your ventilation, and continuous formal nutrition.
You had that
This is
fight. I
short
was supporting lang
mentioning of nutrition essentially carry operative malnutrition has proven challenging to define and diagnose and treat, but it is there for most of our
Very
clinical
well
patients,
said.
from malnutrition to overweight and obesity. That's why it's hard to diagnose and it's hard, the incidence is hard to quantify. But essentially, we want to look out for
Salamat na lang
problems
kita partner kayo. Ako pa to,
when
dawat
we
ko sa
visit
mga
or
nag-stay.
um,
Ewan ko yung kalaban.
you do your final screening. Once you diagnose that your patient is at least at risk, then you do your nutrition management, whether you refer to nutrition service, check
Uy niya, ang ipang ingon, ipakita niyo na ako na sa
you
libro.
maximize the delivery of appropriate nutrition. Hindi mo babombahin ng vitamin 25 fecal basta-basta lang because there are fine print naman to managing nutrition for your patient. So, indirect calorie responsible standards for determining energy requirement, but in the absence of that or with lack of access to indirect calorie, you can target calories 25 to 30 kcal per kilo per day unless there's a problem with for target protein it's 1.5 grams per kilo per day, whether there's
Uy, ang
a
kanang
risk
2,
for
dili pa na
disease or not.
May exam. Trauma Olympics.
So, how do we manage refeeding? If the patient is high risk for refeeding, you stratify your patient, you feed slowly, and you monitor your patient closely. You can start refeeding at 10 to 15 fecal per kilo per day. These are just sample questions. So, once tension pneumothorax is ruled out, the primary consideration for shock is hemorrhagic. And a blood trauma to the chest is a finding of 10% pneumothorax and usual X-ray with maintained hemodynamic stability. The recommendation is
10%.
Say sub,
this
sir.
observed. In a 28-year-old male transferred uncoordinated after maternity like that, he was intoxicated with a by tries to go an hour prior to the consult and admission. Patient has the following vital signs. Patient is drowsy, moaning, with eye opening, and bleeding from a deformed left arm. Patient is in what kind of shock?
Hypertension naman.
Hypotension na, therefore,
3.
ECS of patient at the moment of evaluation,
8.
drowsy,
Eye opening
moaning,
1. Eye opening 1. 9 day.
and bleeding from the deformed left arm.
Draw to pain is 4.
D2, D2, 4.
E2? Ano naman? Nagmoon
What is the priority in resuscitating the patient?
8.
Ito, quick question to. Pag sinabing priority in resuscitating this patient, it remains B, ABCD, food, and weight. And what is the initial priority in managing the feeding syndrome? Para naman may tanong from you.
Dog.
Looking for that risk factor for the patient para ma-address at ma-correctly deliver yung nutrition.
O
So
saan?
that's all. Open for questions if there are.
Okay, refeeding. So you hold. Man ah. Yay! You hold.
Thank you very much, Coach, for that very nice lecture. So, any questions, guys? So, if you'd like, you can put in the chat box.